Good evening, Bhante.
Namo Buddhaya Bhante and Sangha.
Namo Buddhaya, Dragon Yogi. Okay, let's go ahead and begin with reciting the Namo Tassa and three refuges for those who like to join. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dhammang saranang gacchami, Sanghang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami. So welcome, friends, to this Wednesday evening Dhamma discussion and meditation practice. I hope that you are able to read the part 2 of the meditation instructions that was transcribed from a Dhamma talk. I gave it a retreat in Pennsylvania. And this past weekend, I came back from a retreat at the Bhavana Society in West Virginia. And there was a good turnout for that. About 40 people came for the retreat. and everything went well. So I'm going to share the screen with the that part 2 of the meditation instructions that was transcribed from a video, in case you didn't have the chance to read it. Now I always run into this problem.
Is it tab at the top?
Oh, there we go. Okay. Can you all read that on the shared screen?
Yes.
A little small.
How do I enlarge it?
Go to the,
I'm going to try to enlarge the words
yeah, I think, you can see it from here.
in my tech advisor.
It's usually Control Plus.
Control plus.
Yeah, Control.
Yes.
Usually, yeah, hit that, and then here.
Oh, okay. That should be good now.
That's good.
Okay. Is that better?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a little bit better.
Okay. Okay, now again, I was giving this lecture, so as we read it, I'm imagine that I'm talking to you. How do I get rid of this thing on the side? It's blocking.
You hit the little icon
Oh, the
the top left there, at the top of the bar. Hit this little tiny one at the top here.
yeah. That one.
The one next to it, either one. Yeah.
Oh, okay. 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 Last week I had read part 1, so this is part 2, and so we were talking about learning to have a posture, count the breaths to initially get concentrated. And if you're able to count your breath from 1 to 10 without getting lost, or even to count it 2 or 3 times over again, so that you're not reacting so much to any pains, you can tolerate them longer, the mind is feeling more and more sensations, the thoughts are not so rampant, you're not getting lost in thoughts. And the mind is feeling more and more vibrations in the body. Now that's how the mind stays concentrated, because you're creating a pleasant environment. That's the main thing. If we don't have a pleasant environment in our body or mind, then the mind seeks pleasure outside. So part of the initial part of meditation is to create a pleasant environment in the body. And that's why particularly I have people do yoga exercises at the beginning, because that the deep breathing and the exercises helps to generate a stronger flow of sensations in the body, and most of them are pleasant sensations. Now, some pains may arise, but the idea is to tune into the life force sensations in the body, which is caused by the increased oxygen brought into the lungs, and then holding the air in for a couple of seconds, giving more time for all the oxygen to get out in the bloodstream. And then when you're doing the coordinated movements, those coordinated movements move that oxygenated blood in a more effective way out to all the cells of the body. And therefore, basically, like sort of charging them up with oxygenated blood and even the prana life force. And the more sensations you can feel, the more captivating that is for your mind. Especially when you start feeling subtler ones. So that's what's going on inside your body. That's why mindfulness of the body is the first foundation of mindfulness. For those who have, read the 4 foundations of mindfulness, the Buddha had to start with meditation, with the breathing and the body, because it was for that point of getting centered in the body and getting centered on those body sensations. And you can even reach the first jhana by doing that. You gain piti and sukha, which holds the mind in the present moment, not so much in your thoughts. But anyway, that's the tipping point, is when the mind is more contented by staying in the body and doesn't need things from the outside to distract it, or even pain, so you can tolerate pains even longer. The more of those pleasant, subtle vibrations you can feel all over the body due to the activated life force from the breathing and the exercises. So most people think the outside is more pleasant than the inside because they haven't developed the skill in cultivating the natural happiness of these subtle vibrations that are going on all the time. Even just feeling your heart beating, even feeling the blood pulsing through your veins. Oh my gosh, that's absolute bliss. And feeling the other sensations, even the subtle touch of the clothing against the skin. That's why I encourage people to use that as an object of present moment awareness, because they are usually not painful things. They're kind of just natural and they're there in the background, but they can hold your attention. The more you can notice, the less time for your thoughts to get carried away in the past or future, because the present moment is becoming more and more pleasant. So if you have a pain arising somewhere else, feel more of the clothing and the mind will follow. It can't split itself. So if you're worrying about a pain, focus on something more pleasant, these other subtler sensations, which is not an outside thing. It's a pleasant sensation, clothing touching the skin, your breathing, your hands touching together. Anything will work as long as it's just a purely physical vibration and not something the mind is imagining. These are all things to try to keep in mind when you meditate. And this is why contemplation of the body is the first stage of meditation in following the Buddha's instructions. When people don't seem to want to follow his instructions, they want to do other things. And that's why they have more difficulty meditating. So this is part of the intellectual wisdom, even thinking that the body is just billions and billions of cells. Cells are comprised of molecules. Molecules are comprised of atoms, electrons. Kind of, imagine that, even just thinking about it, imagining that. You all took science in, high school or probably college, so you know that. Put it to work, even thinking about it. Get your mind out of thinking about who cursed you yesterday or who tried to cheat you last week or what other problems you might be having. So we have to create this interest. That's what piti is. Piti is interest in the meditation subject. And it can be the pleasant body sensations. It can be interest in even thinking about the Dhamma. The first jhana has applied and sustained thought to it. And that it involves a limited amount of thinking about the Dhamma. Or it can. Okay, so now there's something called the trap of tranquility. Now, when you start to feel this relaxing of the body and mind and these pleasant sensations, it's such a contrast to your normal neurotic mind that's outwardly focused. And so you feel this pleasant relaxation of the body and the mind, and then the mind says, that's enough for me. And it kind of just loses its forward momentum. You use that concentration effort to reach a certain level, but when you reach that first level of what I call mediocre happiness, for most people that's like nirvana, because they hardly ever experience that level of relaxation and contentment with the present moment. And then they think again, that's enough for me. And they let their foot off the pedal of focused awareness. And they just kind of hang out in that sort of kind of low-level pleasant sensations. I conduct a lot of meditation retreats around the world, in Sri Lanka and other places, longer courses. And one time there was this person meditating, and this person was kind of, moving the torso around in circles like this, like she was grooving to something. And, she would go on the whole meditation period, just moving her body around. And I asked her later, what were you doing there, moving around? She said, oh, it feels so good. So she was absorbed in this feel-good sensation, but her meditation basically was just stuck in that. And so yeah, there are a lot of feel-good states, but if you get attached to them, your meditation will stop your forward momentum. And there are many, many more deeper levels of more pleasant sensations and then the insights that come from that, if you don't allow yourself to get stuck on just those beginning initial levels of concentration and present moment awareness. And then I'm going to skip this one sentence about the analogy of the ice cube. I'll come back to that. But in the process of meditation, first of all, we try to use the breath, like counting the breath from 1 to 10, doing some deep, slow breathing. Combining deep, slow breathing with counting is really one of the most powerful ways I found to get concentration. But most meditation teachers say, don't control the breath. Just let it be natural. Well, that might be all right if your breath was natural, but most people's breathing is unnatural because of their postures, because of their neurotic mind and thoughts. The breath has become short and shallow, and they don't use the lungs as they were made to expand the rib cage and to get enough oxygen into the body. So most people's bodies are half starved of oxygen, and that's why they suffer from a lot of sleepiness, and also they don't have a lot of pleasant feelings in the body because the cells are kind of lethargic, only getting a minimal amount of oxygen to them because they don't do a deep, slow breathing. So if you just observe the breath by itself, it's not going to be strong enough to hold your attention, so you'll easily get distracted. Again, that's why at the beginning of all of our meditations in these Zoom sessions, I have you do 10 or 15 or 20 minutes of deep breathing with the coordinated exercises. And many of you say that it does help you to have more feeling and helps you to stay more concentrated. So anyway, you get easily bored or frustrated because you can't feel the breathing or the body, and then you go to sleep. But if you're doing the deep breathing and holding the breath for a few seconds, all that requires more effort. It takes all of your effort. You can't think about anything when you're taking deep, slow breaths because it takes all of your energy. But it's a relaxed energy. It's not a neurotic energy because the mind is all scattered. It's that sensation of the breathing. So you purposely develop that deep, slow breathing, but just for 5 or 10 minutes. That's usually enough, or even 6, 9, or 12 times. And while you're doing that, it takes most of your energy to do that. You can't get distracted by anything else. So you're not getting lost in your thoughts at the time. For that reason alone, it's a good way to help gain concentration. But again, you don't want to breathe that way all the time in meditation. Once the mind gets calm and centered, and once it starts, it's in a has a good sense of body sensations, then you don't need to do that breathing, deep breathing anymore. You let the breath return to its, shorter or uncontrolled breathing. But then you have the body to feel, and that helps keep you concentrated, or you feel the subtler breaths. See, normally people breathe about 10 to 15 times a minute, even in relaxation. There's so much research that's been going on about breathing and effects it has on the mind. But if you deliberately take longer breaths, you can reduce the rate of breathing down to just 3 or 4 breaths a minute. So you might go from 10 or 15 breaths a minute down to just even 4 or 5. That's a drastic reduction in the amount of exercise the lungs have to go, expanding and contracting, that causes stress. But when you do a slow, deep breath, it's a very mellow kind of expanding, holding in the breath, relaxing on the out breath, and so on. So this sends relaxing, rippling waves of prana energy and so on, through the nervous system that helps you to relax. And because the mind and breathing are related, the quicker you breathe, the more active the mind is. The slower you breathe, it has a calming effect on the mind and nervous system. And that's why in yoga, that's why the yogis practice this kind of pranayama at the beginning of meditation, and at other times too, but and then doing it with some stretches. Okay, coming back to the ice cube. Where was I? The ice cube, right? Okay, so when you reach that state of tranquility, instead of just getting stuck there, as I mentioned, that's the time to double down and tune into impermanence. So and usually you'd be at the level almost of the first jhana by that time. So the breath, the applied and sustained attention to breathing stays there by itself, and you don't have to exert so much effort trying to focus on the breathing, because it's staying there in the front or in the back of your mind as a kind of a tethering post. And that's when you can, feel more and more of the body and the sensations, like contemplate the 4 elemental vibrations, as the Buddha mentioned in the mindfulness of the body. So the breathing is used to get centered in the body, to develop that initial state of tranquility. But then you open up and you start to feel the other bodily sensations. You naturally start noticing itchy sensations, prickly sensations, maybe some minor aches or pains. You can notice the clothing rubbing on the skin in the background. You can notice things, little pains on your legs and your chest. You start noticing a lot of sensations. And that keeps you out of your thoughts, because you focus on those sensations and see how they just arise. They last a few seconds and they disappear because they're impermanent. And you can read this. This is something interesting that I was telling in that lecture. You can feel lots of prickly sensations on the body. Sometimes it feels like ants are crawling over your skin when you're in a deep state of awareness. And you know what they are? Ask a biologist. They might tell you there are millions and millions of skin mites, or dead skin cells, or skin mites that are partying on your arm or other parts of your body. Cells being born and dying, doing all kinds of things. That's why we have all these doctors will tell you our bodies are littered with dead skin mites and other things. And that's what causes itching a lot and so on if they accumulate, or they're fighting, they're interacting. So like they're having a party on your skin. Look under a 1,000-powered microscope. They look like monsters. I've seen pictures of them. The scientists have blown them up into thousands of degrees, and they actually look like monsters. You'd go scream and run away if you saw them. But these things are on our body. Oh yeah. So this is what you're feeling, but none of them can hurt you, and you can actually enjoy it because it keeps your attention there in the body, and not thinking about somebody who called you a dirty name yesterday or tried to cheat you or something something else. So that's the thing. You open up to the flow of impermanence and see how quickly so many different sensations are just arising and vanishing very quickly. You can even notice hundreds of them arising and vanishing in the space of a few seconds if you're really focused. And also sometimes when you're sitting and you get calm and relaxed, you might notice a kind of, a muscle jerk or muscle twitches. That's a release of trapped energy because, we have a lot of tension that we hold in our body most of the time. And when you relax, and that holds a lot of stuff in. When you relax, that energy is able to be released, and it can manifest in different ways. Even in negative thoughts coming up from the unconscious mind, or as these various body sensations too, and aches and pains as well. So when the body opens, it releases, and so you can feel a lot of that. A lot of people think it's irritating, but we have to change our mind about the meditation. We have to see it like a scientist investigating and have the awe and wonder of a little child watching ants crawling around on the ground. They're going, oh. And that's the way we have to create a wonder in our mind of being able to just examine this body, all the different things going on in it, even pains and so on. But we do it from that state of concentration where you're not reacting to it. You've developed a degree of equanimity. So without that concentration, that's why most people can't enjoy it, because they get overwhelmed. That's why concentration, at least a certain degree of it, is necessary. Anyway, the idea is you tune into moment-to-moment awareness. First to practice concentration, but then you get centered in the body, you open up and see the flow of impermanence. And when you can start noticing many things happening pretty much at the same time even, it creates a space. And that's what I call the expanded mind. Back in the 60s, people were talking, expand your mind, learn new things. But I don't think they really understood what mind expansion means, especially in Vipassana meditation. It means, the consciousness expands, so it's not focused on just one or two aches or pains. It's expanded so it can notice many things happening at the same time. You can notice, many sensations going on. You can hear sounds coming and going, thoughts going through your mind. It'll shock you at how many things, but it's happening in a calm space because of that concentration. And that's how you develop this insight into impermanence, how quickly the mind operates. Okay. And you can even reach the jhana in that state. It's called Vipassana jhana. Vipassana jhana is where the mind is kind of fixed in the flow of the present moment. Everything's coming and going, changing, but the mind is not moving. The mind is still and centered, but objects are coming and going through it. So that's called the Vipassana jhana. The hindrances have been suppressed, and the mind is not being disturbed, and you can then see clearly how quickly things arise and vanish. That's the first stage of the insight into impermanence. So But a lot of people, they don't get to that point yet because they don't practice enough. Sometimes somebody came to me in a retreat and they said they've been meditating 20 years. And I said, oh, really? I said, very good. What have you been doing? And they say, oh, watching the breath. And I said, and? And they said, oh, I don't know. Well, is there something more? What's next? So a lot of people don't know there's anything more than just watching the breath. So this is what's next, opening up to the flow of impermanence. But you can't do that unless you've reached that first level of tranquility. And it will naturally happen. So anyway, I want you to, now I want to come back to the ice cube. You've all been waiting for that one. So when you get to that point where you have good awareness, the battery, I forgot to turn this on. Sorry, folks. My battery was getting, should be charging now, hopefully. In case we go out, it's just, hopefully my thing won't go off. Okay. So when you have good awareness, actually, there's called the empty house and the melting ice cube. So when you have good awareness of things coming and going, so when you're no longer reacting to sensations or sounds, and there's just this little still point in the middle of awareness with a subtle vibration, like you were sitting on a vibrating machine. How many of you have stood or sat on a vibrating machine? Well, it's not so strong, but it's just kind of a subtle vibration. Anyway, so when it feels like there's nobody reacting. You're no longer scratching, you're no longer moving. Thoughts are not thinking about things. So it feels like there's nobody home there in the mind. It's called the empty house analogy. So you become like an empty house. And there's things knocking on the doors and windows, but there's nobody home to react. The ego has stopped reacting at that point, and it starts to fade away like an ice cube melting in water. So you've got an ice cube floating in a bowl of water, but the ice cube is also water. It's just frozen water, but it thinks and looks like it's different from the water, right? But what happens when the ice cube melts? Can you say, where did my ice cube go? Where did the water go? I want my water back. Give me my ice cube back. No, the ice cube is going to become the water. There's no more difference. There's no more me. There's no more you. There's no more past, no more future, no more pleasure, no more pain, because the resistance, which was the ego, that frozen ice cube, has melted due to the fire or the warmth of the wisdom. The mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom is like a warm fire that melts everything away. It's like a little fire underneath. So these are just some analogies that you can kind of use when you're meditating instead of thinking, oh, I'm getting close now, and getting attached and so on. You can use these little metaphors to help you get an idea of what direction the mind is going in. So the ego, the sense of self, is made up of the past and the future, pleasure and pain, nothing else. That's why when you let go of all that mental activity, the sense of self dissolves, because it was basically an illusion created in the mind. Remember, the baby didn't have it at birth. The ego's sense of I started to develop after you gave it a name, and you start calling its name all the time, and you start giving it things, and you start experiencing pleasure and pain and reacting to objects. That's where the sense of the I starts gradually solidifying. And then basically it's with you the whole life. So, and then when we start learning language and starting to move about, you can be focused in the external world, you lose that intimate connection to the body in the present moment, and that connection to the body-centered awareness. Anyway, okay, I think that may be enough for this Dhamma talk. Because so now I want to open it up to any questions. Well, you can write a question in the chat box, or if somebody. So I'm going to stop this sharing now and come back to the main screen. And if anybody has any questions to what we were just going over, you can raise your hand and ask a question. So there's a golden hand there. Samir,
Yeah, hi, Bhante. You said
have a question?
earlier, that the Buddha gave instructions on meditation, and oftentimes they're not followed. Are you referring to the Satipatthana Sutta and the four categories there?
Yeah, what I've been describing in this talk is basically, yes, the practice of the Satipatthana, the four foundations of mindfulness, which starts with mindfulness of the breathing, then mindfulness of the body, as I was just explaining. Only then, when you reach the first jhana in the mindfulness of the body, which you can do, then when you start to observe feelings and perceptions, you don't get carried away by them, by the painful feelings or the pleasant feelings, because you've developed that kind of concentration, like the anchor of a ship. And then you go through the rest of the observing the mind and thoughts, and then the Dhammanupassana. So yes, this is particularly referring to the four foundations of mindfulness, because that's what the Buddha taught for the attainment of enlightenment. As opposed to just attaining concentration and entering formless jhanas where you could hang out for a couple of days at a time and come back, but you haven't really changed after you've done that. And I've talked before.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you. That's helpful.
Okay. So, Damon, you have a question?
Yeah, thank you. How does all this mindfulness at the same time, how does it complement the other of the three pillars? Wisdom, meditation, we're covering now. And then the precepts or the ethics or the, a lot of times I feel like, oh yeah, good, I'm doing my meditation so well. And then I forget I'm still yelling at my son, at my wife. Like, what's the sense, right? All this mindfulness if I can't love people. I know we spend a few minutes at the end, like 5 minutes of metta, but isn't that the most important point?
The important point is being able to, restrain your passions, restrain your urges to want to use wrong speech and so on, and then practicing the right speech. Practicing the Eightfold Path. That's why you have to practice all the steps of the Eightfold Path, not just meditation. That's the problem with these meditators these days. They just want to meditate thinking they're just going to sit down, follow some technique, and then they're somehow going to reach deep states of meditation, and normally it doesn't work. Or it may work, you may reach a deep state, but you can't maintain it. And so people come out of the meditation, then they get angry with the people because they haven't been able to. That's why you have to sit and endure your pain. Enduring pain in meditation helps you endure pain in your daily life. When people are screaming at you or saying things that you don't like, because you've learned to restrain your, scratch itch. So when somebody starts talking something you don't want, you can restrain your mind from the same way. If you've trained it to restrain itches, you can restrain it from the itch of getting angry at somebody or some other negative reaction. It's easier to restrain the body than restrain the mind, but it's a training ground. The body's a training ground. If you can't do it in meditation, you're not going to be able to do it outside in daily life.
Right. All right. Thank you.
Okay. I see there's some chat, something in the chat boxes. Let's take a look at that. Okay, let me see. The one meditator has been meditating 20 years, still watching the breaths. What is their problem at this point? What should they do? Their problem is maybe their teacher never told them what's next. You know, because a lot of people teaching meditations that they themselves don't know what is next. But anyway, that's another issue. So what they should do is, you know, first of all, what is your motivation for meditating? If you just want to, just to find some inner peace for 5 or 10 minutes and meditate, okay, you can just watch the breath, that's okay. But if you want to, get down into the unconscious mind, get dirty and go into the unconscious mind and then bring up all your negative thoughts and your past greed, hatred, and delusions and look at them, but then apply the wisdom that sees that these are just conditioned reactions, are not me, not my mind, not myself. And you develop you develop metta and karuna, and you follow the precepts especially, and other parts of the Eightfold Path. All of that is connected. You see, they're not disconnected. The Buddha didn't waste his speech going over there and explaining the 8 stages of the Noble Eightfold Path. They're all intimately connected. But a lot of people think they don't need that. And that's why they wind up getting into problems. So even if we do all this mindfulness, if we don't love each other, then what's the sense?
Well, you answered my question already. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Bhante, could you teach how to do 3-part breathing again? I forgot how to breathe it out, starting from the lower lungs to the top. Yes, you take the breath in, you expand the abdominal breathe, the lower lung, and you draw the air from the lower part up to the top, and then you hold the breath in for a couple of seconds, and then you let the breath out first from the lower lungs. But it takes some training to do that. And I've made a video, I think it's on my YouTube channel, where I go through that 3-part breathing in a lot of detail. So I would suggest trying to go through our archive of the YouTube channel or look in there about yogic breathing, and maybe it'll take you to that one that I explained with that.
I have another question.
Let me get to this last one. I've
That's
been
fine.
meditating for more than 40 years. I've followed the yoga breaths instructed by Bhante and reached a high concentration very fast, like never before. I went to a silent space that felt like home. So this person is just, is telling, she followed my, instructions on doing the deep breathing and, got some benefits. So, maybe everyone may not have the same kind of benefits, but most people do find it useful if it's developed in a systematic way. Okay. I try to meditate early in the morning. Is loving kindness meditation, Buddhanusati, better to do in the morning? Can you kindly explain? Personally, I think mindfulness and concentration is good to do in the morning session of meditation because it sets up that calm, observing awareness that will help you as you start to get active in the daytime. When you start to get upset about something or driving to work, somebody cuts you off or something else happens in your house, having done that 30 minutes or hour of meditation in the morning, practicing anapanasati, the breathing awareness, getting centered in the body, basic mindfulness, then that will help you endure distractions and so on, at home. In the day, but that'll wear off by noontime. And so the evening time is good to practice metta and forgiveness. And metta for anybody that, the people that you encountered in the day that might have done something to you, you ask for their forgiveness, or you forgive yourself if you've done something. And then you send metta outward. May all beings be free from greed, hatred, and delusion. May all beings be well and happy. May all beings be able to learn the Dhamma and practice meditation. And hopefully then that will help you have a better sleep. So that's the way I usually advise people. That mindfulness and concentration is good to do in the morning to create a more calm awareness when you go out to meet the day. And then for any things that's accumulated, negativity that's accumulated in the day, you release that by doing forgiveness and metta, or any other type of meditation that you might, feel like doing. And it's still hard to be mindful when the mind wanders, but I'm trying my best. That's why staying connected to the body, developing mindfulness of the body, even where it, and doing the M&Ms. Actually, I forgot the M&Ms. Doing that in the daytime is M&Ms are the meditation supplement. Even though you might meditate in the morning and evening, there's still a long time between meditations. And so doing the M&Ms once an hour, starting for a minute. Stopping every hour for 1 minute to take a few deep, slow breaths, to let go of the past and future, get in touch with the body. Even for 1 minute, you can do that if you learn how, if you practice it. And if you do it every hour, that closes the gaps between your morning meditation and your evening meditation. That's really what I found to be one of the best way to develop meditation in the daily life, because anybody can stop for 1 minute, but you have to do it every hour. You can't do it just once or twice a day. It won't be enough. But if you're doing it every hour or even more often, anytime you know it, remind it, then that's really what I found to be the most important. Anyway, friends, I think we're going to stop here because it's getting late, so we still want to have enough time to come back for our meditation. But do you have one more? There's another golden hand up there. Samir, you have a quick question you want to ask?
I was just going to make a comment, that what you said in response to Damon's question about people just meditating and not necessarily following the full eightfold path is perhaps where I am as well. And I think to some extent, I don't fully understand how to follow all the 8 steps exactly.
Well, one leads to another. Like right understanding, you can't think about the Dhamma if you haven't learned some Dhamma. So you learn some Dhamma by reading books, suttas, listening to Dhamma talks, and then you think about it in your daily life. There's 3 kinds of right thought. Thought of renunciation, thought of non-ill will, thought of non-cruelty. These are aspects of weakening greed, hatred, and delusion. They're all connected to the Dhamma. And then practicing the precepts. All those things are connected. And that's why it's called the Eightfold Path. And a lot of people who want to just jump right to practicing meditation. They don't want to follow precepts. They think they can, control themselves. But as it winds out, most of the time they can't. And they have to come back. And anyway, you have to, you have to read. You have to read. That's why reading a lot of suttas helps to gain that understanding. Because there's a lot in the suttas that are not, a lot of people don't talk about all the time, how to practice in the daily life. Okay. Okay, friends, I think we'll go ahead and stop here and take a few minutes break, then come back to do some deep breathing and some stretches, and have our meditation. Okay? So see you back in a few minutes. Okay, friends, let's try to stand straight. Relax your shoulders and arms at the sides. Gently close your eyes. Focus, feel your feet pressing the floor. Feel your arms and hands hanging at the sides. Feel the clothing touching your skin. Feel your head balanced on top. Feel your eyes resting in the sockets. Just try to feel that outline of the standing body. Then begin some deep, slow breathing, that 3-part breathing that we talked about. Let's start the in-breath by expanding your abdomen, rib cage, and upper chest. Bring the air into the upper chest. Hold the air in for 2 seconds if you can. And slowly breathe out. Try to feel the last bit of air go out of the lungs. Take a few more breaths, developing this mindfulness of breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Hold the breath. Breathing out, standing here and now. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, standing here and now. Breathing in, feeling the whole body. Breathing out, feeling the whole body. Now we're going to combine this breathing with these movements. So just you can open the eyes and I'll be leading you through this. So on the next in breath, raise your arms over the head, interlock the fingers, turn the palms up, straighten your arms, stretch your head back, stretch upwards, and release your fingers. The out breath, arms back to the sides. Feel the air go out as your arms come back down. Again, in breath, arms over the head, interlock the fingers, stretch up, bend back a little bit, feel the sensations. Out breath, arms back to the sides. Once more, in. Stretch up, bend back a little more, hold it a little longer. Feel the arch in the lower spine. The out breath, arms back to the sides, feel the last bit of air go out. And relax. Just close your eyes. Feel the increased body sensations. Clothing touching the skin. Increased tingling sensations or pulsations in your hands and fingers or other places. Maybe some little aches or pain. Just letting go of your thoughts. Just let your thoughts come and go in the back of the mind. Just keep remembering standing, standing, standing. Present moment of the body. Okay, on the next in breath, lift up on the balls of the feet while raising the arms over the head in this way. Face the hands toward each other about 6 inches apart and stretch. The out breath, arms back down. Feel the air go out as the arms come down. Use the in breath to help lift up the body like blowing up a balloon. Stretch. Out. Once more, in, stretch, out. Relax. Close the eyes. Feel the increased sensations. Each exercise will generate different sensations in different places. Notice that as deep level of awareness. Just remember standing, standing, standing. Okay, next we'll do side bending. On the in-breath, raise both arms up. Keep your fingers and arms straight, close to your head. On the out-breath, bend over the right side as far as you comfortably can. Feel the stretch in the side. In-breath, lift up. Then the other side, out-breath. Keep the arms parallel to each other like railroad track. In-breath, lift up. Keep alternating sides with the breathing, out-breath. In, out. Once more to each side. On the out-breath, lower the arms. Close the eyes. Feel the feet pressing the floor. Feel the hands and fingers at the sides. Feel the subtle pulsation. Feel the clothing touching the skin. Feel the head balanced on top, the eyes in the sockets. Present moment, body-centered awareness, a natural awareness. Okay, now spread the feet apart about 3 feet. The wider the better. We'll hold the arms out at the sides. We'll do twisting from right to left. We'll breathe in. On the out breath, twist to the right. Let your feet turn a little bit with the body. Look at your hand going back. In breath, back to the front. Let your feet turn with the body and twist to the other side, out breath. In breath, front. Just keep alternating sides like that. Out breath. In. Out. In. Once more to each side. Come back to the front, lower the arms, relax. Close the eyes. Feel each foot pressing the floor. Feel the sensations of the legs spread apart. Feel the hands and fingers. Feel the clothing touching the skin. Head balanced on top. Feel your face. The more sensations you can feel, the less time for your mind to get carried away in thought. Feel those organic aliveness, sensations, heartbeat, breathing, pulsation. Okay, now place the hands together at the chest. Breathe in, hands over the head. On the out breath, lower the hands to the chest and bend the knees and lower down. Try to keep the back upright. Feel the stretch in your knees and hips. And the in-breath, lift all the way up. Hands over the head. Again, out breath. Just try to come down a little farther. In. Out. In. And the out breath, arms back to the sides. Close the eyes, feel the increased heartbeat. Feel any aches or pains. Clothing touching the skin. Try to feel the outline of the whole body. Like looking into a mirror, watching the body standing there, vibrating, pulsating. There's billions of cells vibrating due to the increased breathing and oxygenation, stretching. Okay, now bring the legs back together. We're going to do backward and forward bending. Just be careful with the back bends. Don't bend back too far the first time. Especially when you lift up from a back bend. It could be a rush of energy to feel faint or dizzy. Anyway, turn the palms facing outward so your little fingers touch together. In breath, raise the hands up level to your eyes. And then spread the arms out to the sides as you bend back on the out breath. Look up at the ceiling. On the in breath, carefully lift up, keeping your arms out at the sides. And on the out breath, lower the arms and hands down. Bend down towards the floor. Let the little bones in the lower spine stretch out. Try to keep the legs straight. And begin lifting up. Turn the palms outward again. In breath, raising the arms. Out breath, arms out to the sides and back. In breath, lift up. Out breath, a downward stretch. And stretch down a little more. And once more, lifting up, in breath, out breath. In breath, lift up. Out breath, downward stretch. Try to hold a downward stretch longer. Get the little bones in the lower spine stretch out. Feel the sensations in your legs and spine. And bend your knees a little bit, and then lift up. Breathe in, bring your hands together at the chest. Out breath, hands back to the sides. Just close the eyes, feel the whole body. Feel all those organic life force vibrations. Just feel as though you're standing on a vibrating machine, feeling all those vibrations from the soles of your feet up to the top of the head. Just remember standing, standing. I hope you're all able to, feel that increased body sensations, vibrations. Just try to keep aware of them by moving mindfully as we come back to our sitting positions for the meditation. So get comfortable in your sitting position. Let's try to sit straight. Try to establish that the natural inward curve of the lower lumbar spine. Feel your head balanced on top of the spinal column. Just gently close your eyes. Just keep the chin lifted up level with the floor. Just try to feel that outline of the sitting body in the mind's eye. Sense of the head on top, clothing touching the skin. Hands touching together, touching your legs. The inward curve of the lower spine, the buttocks pressing the seat. Your feet tucked underneath. Just as though you were kind of looking into a mirror, just watching the body sitting. Then begin some deep, slow breathing again, like we did in the yoga. Drawing the air from the lower lung up through the middle to the top of the upper chest. Hold the air in for 2 or 3 seconds. Squeeze all the oxygen out into the bloodstream. And slowly breathe out. Feel the last bit of air go out. And then the next in-breath. Take several deep, slow breaths like that, developing this mindfulness of breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Hold the breath a second. Breathing out, sitting here and now. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, sitting here and now. Breathing in, feeling the whole body. Breathing out, feeling the whole body. Now if you can, just continue taking these deep, slow breaths. And we're going to combine this with counting from 1 to 10. I'll do the counting for you. Just try to follow that with your counting and your concentration. So with the next expanding in breath, mentally count to 1. Hold the air in for 2 seconds. And with the contracting out breath, also count to 1. Feel the last bit of air go out. And the next in breath, 2. Out breath, 2. In 3. Out 3. In 4. Out 4. In 5. Out 5. In 6. Out 6. In 7. Out 7. In 8. Out 8. In 9. Out 9. In 10. Out 10. Now as the breath goes out, don't deliberately try to breathe in again. Just let there be a brief pause. Don't control the breath anymore. Just allow the breath to come back in on its own. But continue to follow it, to feel it. Keep your attention focused on the abdomen, stomach area, the chest. Feel the residual expanding and contracting sensation. And just know when the breath is coming in, and know when the breath is going out. Know it by feeling it. Just try to feel the sensations where the clothing rubs against the skin of your stomach or rib cage or chest as it expands and contracts. Just make those friction sensations the main object of your concentrated awareness. Try to be like a scientist looking down through a microscope, observing an experiment, observing those sensations of breathing. And try to feel the 4 phases of each breath cycle, the expanding in-breath and the brief pause, the contracting out-breath and the brief pause. It's important to feel those brief pauses. Keeps the mind awake, concentrated. You can make these brief mental reminders to help stay focused. In sitting, out, sitting, in sitting, out, sitting. It's the ongoing, continuous connection to the present moment, this breathing body. This breathing body is the natural connection to present moment awareness. If we lose that connection to the present moment, the breathing body, the mind either starts falling asleep or getting carried away in various thoughts. The past and future, worry, fear, anxiety, greed, anger. This breathing body is your lifeline to the present moment awareness. In sitting, out, sitting. You can't feel the breathing easily, and do some more deeper, slower breathing to help stay connected to the sensation. In sitting, out, sitting, breath by breath, moment by moment. This breathing is going on through the larger sitting body. The brief pauses between the breaths, feel those vibrations of the sitting body. Just letting go of your thoughts. Just let your thoughts come and go in the back of the mind. Keeping the sensations of the breathing body in the front of the awareness. Like looking into a mirror, just watching the body sitting and breathing. Different sensations coming and going. If you catch the mind lost in thoughts, recognize it as lost. Take a deep, slow breath. Bring the mind back into the body. Back to in, sitting. Out, sitting. Breath by breath. Moment by moment. Just turning up the power of the mental microscope to notice more and subtler sensations in the breathing or other sensations in the body. The mind is relaxed enough and gradually opening up to the other sensations coming and going in through the body, in and around the breathing awareness. Being alert for any thoughts in the back of the mind, waiting to come in and steal your attention. Just be alert how quickly certain sensations arise and vanish. Some sensations seem to last longer. Some sensations just arise and vanish very quickly. The more sensations you can notice, the less time for your mind to get carried away in other thoughts. In, sitting, out, out, sitting, maintaining that connection, the present moment awareness. The moment you were born to the moment this body dies, this breathing has been going on in the body, keeping it alive. It's your trustworthy companion, this breathing body. Everything else comes and goes in your life. This body keeps breathing, keeps living until the time you die. It's not far away, 1 inch beneath your nose. There's no reason why you can't feel it. Just get out of the thoughts into the body. Pure organic sensation. Just keep coming back and doing some deep, slow breathing. Keep the awareness charged up, awake in the body. Breathing in sitting, breathing out, sitting. So many different sensations coming and going. Sounds come and go. Pleasure or pain come and go. Perceptions, thoughts, urges come and go. Thoughts of I, me, or mine come and go. These are all just a continuous flow of the five aggregates of the body and mind, arising and vanishing, coming and going to that expanded space of awareness. If you have a good awareness of that, just try to become like an empty house with nobody home to answer the call, knocking on the doors and windows. But there's a sensitive microphone in the house of awareness that knows but doesn't know. Cannot react. Just allow that little ice cube of the ego, I consciousness. Allow that ice cube to fade away into that vast ocean of expanded awareness. Dukkha patacani dukkha bhayapatacani bhaya sokapatacani sokha Hontu sabbe pipanino. May the suffering be free from suffering. May the fear struck be free from fear. May the grieving be free from grief. In this way may all beings live with mindfulness and wisdom. Thus spoke the Buddha. Now to finish, I invite you to join in chanting the word sadhu. We do that chanting on a long out breath. Do that 3 times, feeling those vibrations in your body and mind. So just take a deep breath. Sadhu. Breathe. Sadhu. Breathe. Sadhu. Now mindfully place your hands at the edge of your knees. Take one more deep breath as you breathe in. Stretch your head back. Pull your hands against your knees to arch your spine back. Look at the ceiling. Let the breath out. And breathe in, lift the head up. And on an out breath, press your chin to the top of the chest to stretch your neck vertebra. Lift the chin up level on an in-breath. Let out the breath. Put a smile on your face. Okay, friends. So this brings our meditation to an end. I hope you were able to have some minutes or longer of some, pleasant sensations in the body, some good mindfulness, some insights. And don't forget, mindfulness a day keeps dukkha away. It means practicing the M&Ms, stopping every hour during the day to take a few deep breaths, bring your mind back to the body, to the present moment, letting go of that neurotic push to the future. Just trying to stay connected with the body, the present moment for 1 minute. We're sending out metta in that 1 minute. If anybody crossed you in the last hour that you're holding resentment or ill will towards, send that metta, wishing that they were free from greed, hatred, and delusion. Wish that they could be well and happy in body and mind. Okay? So next week we might be focusing on some aspects of this body, impermanence of the body and death. I just gave a retreat on the awareness of living and dying at the Bhavana Society. So I might transcribe one of those talks, share that with you next week if I can get it done. Okay, so until then, be well, be safe, be mindful, be wise. And Namo Buddhaya.
Namo Buddhaya.
Thank you,
Namo
Bhante.
Buddhaya Bhante. Thank you. Thank you,
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu,
Sangha.
Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante.
Gratitude and appreciation, Bhante. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome.